If you like this video, subscribe, share and tap the bell icon.
In the previous lecture, we have seen the two abiotic components which is responsible for the organism to cooperate with the environment. Okay, first one is the temperature and then water, and then soil and the light. It is remaining. Before that, one part of the water which is remaining, we are going to see it first, and then we are going to the second next two parts. Okay, so the part which is remaining in the water, it is nothing but one component, that is salinity. Salinity, it is nothing but the salt concentration present in the water. So according to which the salt concentration present, the water is going to again divide. So we can divide it into the three major parts. That is, first one is the fresh water, or we can call it as inland water. The salinity of the fresh water is nothing but less than 5%. That means fresh water is in the rivers, in the lakes, the salinity is below 5%. Okay, in the sea water, or we can call it as marine water, the salinity of that water is 30 to 35%, or we can call it as 30 to 35 ppt part per thousands. Okay, we can simply consider it as a percentage, so 30 to 35%. Now there is another third compartment or the parts, that is nothing but it is having hypersaline lagoons. Okay, that is a different type of a part, that is which is having more than 100% of the salinity. So in such conditions also there are some of the organisms they live. So in three conditions, where in fresh water 5%, less than 5%, in case of marine water 30 to 35%, and in case of hypersaline lagoons there are more than 100% salinity is. So according to which salinity the organisms are going to divide into majorly two parts. That is, as in case of temperature, okay, we are going to see in the water. That is, the two parts are euryhaline and stenohaline. Now what is euryhaline? Euryhaline, the organisms which can tolerate wide range of salinity. That means from 5% to 35%, the organism which can live from 5% to 35%, which are considered under the euryhaline conditions. Then, for example, the migratory fishes. There are some of the fishes in the aquatic medium. They are growing in the fresh water, but during the time of the egg laying, they are going to the marine water for the egg laying. And when after hatching takes place, they come back again into the fresh water. So they are going from 5%, less than 5% salinity, to the 30 to 35% salinity. So they are having wide range of tolerance. So they are under the euryhaline condition. Okay, and next one is nothing but the stenohaline. Stenohaline, the organisms which can tolerate the narrow range of salinity. That means, for example, we can take in freshwater animals and marine water animals. In freshwater only less than 5% salinity is there, then and then only the animals can survive, or whatever the aquatic and organisms are. In the marine water, 30 to 35% salinity is there, then and then only the marine organisms can survive. So this is the narrow range, 30 to 35 and 5%. In that conditions they can survive. So here the salinity and the water, second factor of the abiotic factors. Now coming to the third part, that is nothing but the light. Okay, light, it is also important for the photosynthesis in case of plants. Okay, when water is also important, temperature is also important, and third part is the light. Light is important for the photosynthesis. Okay, when during the photosynthesis O2 is the byproduct which is used for the breathing. So light is also important. Second part, it is nothing but photoperiod. Photoperiod is what? Photoperiod is nothing but the duration of the light. How much time light is there, it is called as photoperiod. And that photoperiod it is very much important in case of plants and animals also. How it is important in the plants? The photoperiod, it is a requirement required for the flowering of the plant. For the flowering of the plants, the light is required. There are many of the plants which requires the light for the flowering, for the growth. There are some exceptions which require less water, less light for the growth. So plants requires light for the flowering. In case of animals, for example, we can take the example of poultry birds. Okay, they requires poultry birds requires heat for the egg laying. Whenever there is a egg laying is there, then in such cases the number of eggs are increases, and also there is a increase in the number of quality of the eggs. So in animals and in plants also the photoperiod is very much important. But and according to the light, there are some of the organisms which requires light, and there are some of the organisms which hide from the light. So according to which the animals are going to divide it into two parts, that is called as diurnal, and second one is the nocturnal. Diurnal, the organisms which requires lights for their growth, they are called as diurnal, and the organisms which hide from the light, these are called as the nocturnal animals. So we are dependent on the plants for the food and various other factors, and the plants are going to make their own food material by photosynthesis, and for the photosynthesis light is very much important. So light is the another factor which is responsible for the interaction between organisms and the environment. Now coming to the fourth part, that is called as the soil. Soil is the fourth abiotic factor. Then when we are going to talk about the soil, we have to consider some of the points such as soil water. There are majorly four components. First one is the soil water and soil air. Okay, these are the two major first components, soil water and soil air. How is the capacity of the soil to hold the water and to hold the air? That is very much important, because that much requirement of that water and the air is there for the plants. So according to which the soil water and soil air, the capacity of that plants are going to consider. Then second one is the particular size. Okay, particle size is there. We know that there are different types of the soils present. Okay, according to the particles size. So we know that it starts from slate, then clay, then fine sand, then coarse sand, and then gravels. So the size of the particles as soon as increases, the water holding capacity decreases, but the air holding capacity increases. Okay, now consider there are two conditions. One is the sand water, or the soil contain more of the sand, and second condition, the soil contains more the soil particles or clay slate particles. Okay, in case of sand particles, as we know that the sand particles are larger in number, so the gap between them it is more, so that the air holding capacity is more in that soil, but the water holding capacity is very less. Now in case of slate soil, there is a small particle, so that the gap between them is very less, so that air holding capacity is very less, but water holding capacity is very large. So if we want the better condition of the soil, or if we want the better soil, we should will have the combination of both sand and silt soil, so that we can get more and more water also, and we can get more and more soil also. So these are the conditions. The third component important for the soil, it is nothing but the pH. pH is very much important. For the crop plants it is majorly important, because in certain pH only the crop plants are grazing more and more, because generally the pH 5.5 to 6.5, it is very much ideal for the crop plants for more production of the whatever they are farming. Then 5 to 6.5, it is nothing but the slightly acidic nature, which is required for the crop plants for the better production. Okay, so soil should be of pH of 5.5 to 6.1. It is combination of both slate and sandy soil. The soil water capacity will be more, the soil air capacity will be more. Then pH, it is under this slightly acidic condition. And fourth one condition is nothing but the minerals. Minerals are very much important for the crop plants. So how the minerals comes in the soil? So there are two of the processes for the mineral introduction in the soil. First one is called as the pedogenesis, and second one is called as the humification. And what is pedogenesis? Pedogenesis is nothing but the weathering of the rocks. There are large rocks are there, but due to some accidental conditions, due to some physical conditions, due to some chemical conditions, that is acid rain is there, extreme heat and extreme cold is there, due to that there is a diffusion of the rocks takes place, and by that conditions in the soil, whatever the minerals are there, it is going to add it into the soil. That is called as pedogenesis. This is the one factor. And the another factor is nothing but the humification. Humification is whatever the organic matter it is included in the soil, that is going to diffuse or mix in the soil by the bacteria, and by that way minerals are going to add it into the soil. So these four factors, that is soil water and soil air capacity, then particular size, then third one is the pH, and fourth one is the minerals. These are very much important for the soil. So abiotic factors, four factors we have completed. First one is the temperature, then water, then light, and then soil. These are the abiotic factors. In the next video series we are going to see the factors responsible for to adapt with that abiotic factors.